Hey guys, good afternoon. It's John with New York Metro Weather here with an update on the weather as we go through the week and obviously the potentially notable snowstorm at the back half of the week on Friday. A lot to discuss. We're going to get right into it, but we're going to start first with some precipitation that's coming through on Wednesday morning. So it's pretty nice out there today, not too much to talk about. Gets chilly tonight though, and models, as you can see, signaling the possibility of some rain and wintry mix, even near New York City, and freezing rain possible in the interior parts of northern New Jersey, as well as southeastern New York and the interior parts of Connecticut through Wednesday morning. And the reason for that is that even though it's pretty warm aloft, so a couple thousand feet up above our heads, it's still going to be quite cold near the surface. If you look at the temperatures on the NAM model valid for tomorrow morning, you can see that tonight it gets cold. It goes all the way down into the 20s. And so by tomorrow morning, it takes some time to scour that cold out in parts of northern New Jersey, especially the interior. The feeling is these are going to be mostly rain showers in the city, but in the interior locations of northern New Jersey, eastern Pennsylvania, and southeast New York, we could see a period of freezing rain, and that could lead to some slick conditions. So leave yourself a little extra time if you're traveling tomorrow morning and just prepare for some slick spots in the interior. That'll get out of the way, though, by the afternoon hours and swing through, and a frontal boundary is going to drop southward. It's going to get much cooler after that comes through into Thursday. And that's going to be really important. It's setting the stage for the winter storm possibility on Friday. And actually, how far south that front gets is going to be important too. So let's jump over to the European model and check out what's going on. This is our disturbance right here that moves through on Wednesday morning and into Wednesday afternoon, leading to that freezing rain. And it kind of lingers around a little bit Wednesday night into Thursday. And so what it does is it acts to compress the mid-level heights of the atmosphere. What we're looking at here is the atmosphere and all the energy and the spin in the atmosphere way up in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. But it can tell us a lot about how storms are behaving and how they will behave. And so this storm right here is not the storm for Friday. The Friday storm is still all the way back here Wednesday afternoon. It's still back across Montana and moving into the Rockies. But as this storm for Friday begins to drop southward and start to amplify, what happens with this first storm Wednesday into Thursday is very important, because if it's deeper and stronger and that front pushes further south of us, it's going to tend to keep the storm for Friday further south as well. If it is weaker and stays further north, the Friday storm will have more room to amplify and come further north. The trend we've seen today is that models are thinking that the Wednesday and Thursday disturbance that we see here over New England is going to be stronger and further south. And that acts to kind of put a little bit of a stop on how far north Friday's storm can really come. And so accordingly today, we've seen models trend further and further south with the storm system on Friday. I know yesterday we posted 3 possible tracks. One of them was right close to the coast where New York City might see us flip over to sleet or rain. One of them was right in the middle in that sweet spot where the track could lead to possibly significant snow in New York, and the third one was a little further out to sea where the impacts would be limited. Today, based on most forecast models, we're teetering between number 2 and number 3. The models are really right on the edge of whether this is going to be an impactful storm or not for New York, and it all goes back to that first disturbance being stronger and suppressing the entire pattern. Let's take a look at the European model and the suggestion for what happens. So here's Wednesday into Thursday morning. You see that stronger storm now in New England drops the front further south, way south of New York. And then the storm that organizes in the Ohio Valley actually doesn't really get going until it's off the coast of the Carolinas. And so once the system gets its act together, it's way east out to sea. And the model still does suggest light snow passing by parts of New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Long Island, and southern New England. But it's much less substantial than it was suggesting yesterday. In fact, the European model yesterday was the furthest north, and now it is the furthest east. So all in all, this one is a little weaker and a little further out to sea. If we look at the NAM model that just came in earlier today, we'll flip back and check out exactly what that's suggesting. Here's a simulation from the NAM model. It's a little further west, and it does bring more substantial snowfall into the New York City area. I'll pull up the NAM model that runs all the way out, and you can see the snow gets back further west, that low pressure tracking a little further west into Thursday. So how do we think this is all going to play out? Well, there's still a substantial amount of uncertainty, and that's really what we want to get across. If we look at the European ensemble, which is there are 51 of these guys, right? They take the European model, they run it 51 times, they kind of tweak each one of them, and we want to get an idea of what the potential spread could be among solutions. We have one of them that thinks the storm's going to be out in Bermuda, and we have another one that thinks it's going to be inland across North Carolina. So hundreds of miles of spread amongst the ensembles. The majority of them are here just off the coast, and that's valid at very early Friday morning. And then by Friday early afternoon, models suggest there's still quite a bit of spread. They have some cluster here, right, just to the south and east of Long Island. A couple of them are closer to the coast, a couple of them are way further east, but there's still quite a bit of spread. And so there's a lot of uncertainty still in terms of how things are going to track. And we're going to have to really try to figure that out over the next couple of days. If we were to put a forecast together, it would be probably pretty close to what we see on the European and NAM model, with that light snow moving in late Thursday night into Friday, continuing into Friday, and getting out of here by early Friday afternoon. This looks like a quick hitting storm. It's going to be in and out. This is not a big, deep, strong nor'easter, but it does have the potential to produce light snow in the New York City area. And if it can back a little further to the west and closer to the coast, we'll be looking at larger amounts and the possibility of something a little bit more substantial. That brings us to our first shot at the snowfall forecast. Here's our storm total snowfall forecast range for this storm. You can see the majority of the New York City area is somewhere between 2 and 4 inches, with the possibility really between 1 and 5 for Central Park and Newark. But those upper quartiles and the kind of the higher confidence percentages are well within that 2 to 4 inch range. A little bit of a higher threshold at places like Hartford, Islip, and along the Jersey Shore, those further east and northeast locations, with the possibility of seeing something a little bit more substantial. But again, this is our first shot at this, and we'll likely make tweaks to this through the days coming as we get closer to the storm. But as of now, we're looking at right in between that 1 to 4 inch range of the New York City metro area and trying to hone in on that over the coming days. Again, for timing, if we're looking at what we're, kind of taking a blend of all the solutions and looking at timing, snow moves in very late Thursday night into early Friday morning, continues for a couple hours, likely between 4 to 6 hours, with light accumulations in most areas in the 1 to 3, 2 to 4 inch range. Then it gets out of here by Friday afternoon. And the second half of Friday is actually okay. That storm is a distant memory by 2, 3 o'clock on Friday, with improving weather expected for the first half of the weekend. So we'll have a lot more updates as we go through the next couple of days. Still quite a bit of uncertainty, a lot to unpack here. We're getting closer. We're kind of honing in on the track, and we'll get those amounts with higher confidence for you in the next couple of days. But again, happy to give that opening bid to you this afternoon. A lot more coming later tonight and tomorrow. For now, we hope you guys have a great Tuesday afternoon. Take care.